Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Francine from the Chiropractic Center, where we really care about you and your success. And today we have an amazing guest with us. We're so excited, so blessed to have her with us today. Dr. Irina Chan is a naturopathic doctor. And some of you may already know that she has recently joined our practice, and she has a wealth of information to share with us on so many topics. So we're hoping to have a series, and we're going to be touching on different topics as we go along. And Dr. Chan has a special interest in gut health. She also has a special interest in integrative cancer care and chronic fatigue, as well as chronic pain and acupuncture. So she brings a wide range of skills and information and knowledge. So today, thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to make this video for our patients.
Hi, Dr. Francine. Thank you for the warm welcome and the introduction. I'm excited to be here today and chat more about health and wellness and how we can support your patients even more than they are getting with the clinic right now through chiropractic services and massage. So excited to be here for sure.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So today we were going to talk about energy, right? That was our main focus today.
Mhm.
We were talking about I guess the lack of energy, some people experience that, how to boost energy, how to maintain energy through your life and experience healthy aging. Also, there's some really cool, interesting tests that can be done now to further evaluate your energy on a cellular level. So, Dr. Chan is, well versed in being able to discuss some of that with us. Um, I don't know about you, Dr. Chan, but I hear my practice all the time. um, I have low energy. I'm having a hard time getting up in the morning. Some people experience that. Some people, it's more as the day progresses. Oh, I have a really hard time around 2, 3 o'clock keeping awake, staying focused at work, or I just don't have the energy at the end of the day
Mhm.
to work out or to do things with my kids. I don't know. Is that something you hear too?
Yeah, I see that so commonly. It may be one of the most common symptoms that I have. There's always,
Really?
if it's not the main concern, it's also a symptom that they have. And so people are feeling tired, depleted, exhausted, burnt out. And so there's so many different causes and reasons why someone can feel that way. And so part of working together, part of, having that 75-minute intro or initial visit is really to get a comprehensive picture of what's really going on. What are the different factors that are coming into play? Looking into their diet is super important, sleep
Mm,
patterns, stress levels, their digestion, and then looking into blood work as well, because we, as naturopathic doctors, we can order blood work, but sometimes people have recent blood work that we could take a look at as well to see if there's any underlying anemia or thyroid dysfunction, nutrient deficiencies, or metabolic dysfunction. So all those can really be a crucial element to why someone's feeling very tired. And oftentimes it's not just one thing that's
yeah.
causing the fatigue. It's like a combination of things. So that's why we really have to talk about all aspects of their health.
And that's super important too, like getting a good picture of where they're at. I mean, sometimes too, people might think, oh, I'm doing pretty good with my diet or I'm doing pretty good with my exercise routine. But if your body's still telling you that you have, energy, or you're feeling a little lower, or you want to keep going. I mean, one of the challenges as we continue to age through and go through life is our bodies change on a cellular level too, right?
Mhm,
So, what are some of the changes that happen like within the cell as we age? Are there,
mhm,
what are some of the things that might happen or
mhm.
change?
So that's a really good point there. Some people come in with already like a good level of energy, but they want to make sure they sustain their energies as
Mm,
they age gracefully,
mm,
anti-aging. And so when we're talking about that, we really have to focus on our mitochondrial health, because by supporting the mitochondria, it acts like our energy or batteries within our cells, and I'll go into a bit more detail about it later. But these are really crucial organelles as part of our cells that help to generate energy, but also help all the different parts of our body function optimally. And so as we age, we lose some of that mitochondria within our
Mm,
cells, as well as the function of it slows down, just like everything else, unfortunately. So we want to be able to optimize our mitochondrial function as we age in order to sustain not only our energy levels, but also our mental health, our cognitive function,
so
our
important.
immune health, and all those aspects.
So, so important. Like cellular function really, I think, has taken a whole new direction in the last decade. There's been so much more research and so much more available to us. And I think you're right. There are many, many, many factors that can cause you to have low energy. But there are certainly ways, many, many ways you can start to boost it. And when you have more precise information, that really can help identify the crux of the issue as opposed to kind of like a stab in the dark kind of approach, which I think is so powerful nowadays that these things are available to
Hmm.
us.
Hmm.
Um, so, could you maybe explain more about what a mitochondria is and how that
Hmm.
could affect us over time?
Yeah.
Like if there's changes?
Hmm. So mitochondria are tiny organelles or parts
So,
of a
what's an
cell.
organelle exactly? For like, what is that? Is that
So
like is it
if
like a mini organ? Is that is
Yeah.
that
So
right?
imagine if our bodies, if our entire being is a cell, then the
Uh,
organs within our body acts as organelles. So if
I
we're
see.
looking at a cellular level, the whole a functional part of it is a cell, and then parts of it within the cell are called organelles. And each
Okay.
organelle functions has a different function, just like the organs within our bodies.
Yeah, I just thought maybe we should clarify that because
Yeah.
that might be a question that people have.
Yeah,
What is
so
an
they're
organelle?
kind of acting like organs, but they're just tinier, they're smaller.
Okay. And
Mhm,
how does that? And so mitochondria is an organelle within the cell, and
mhm.
then it makes energy. So how is there like a specific process, and how do we identify where we're maybe having struggling in that department?
So the mitochondria is, again, a tiny part of what is within every cell, except for red blood cells, which actually don't have any organelles,
Hmm.
and they are most abundantly found in areas of the brain as well as the heart and the muscles. All of these are really critical organs that our body that is really critical for like really important functions within our bodies. And so the mitochondria acts to convert the energy from the food that we eat to energy that the cells can use. And that energy that the cells can use is called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. And so this adenosine triphosphate kind of runs the cells. And what's important is that our mitochondria is susceptible to damage from environmental factors. So things like pollutants or medications, heavy
Mm,
metals, mold, chemicals from the food that we eat or the water we drink, as well as oxidative stress. All these can impair the function of the mitochondria and slow it down so that the energy production pathway is not running as smoothly. And
mhm,
this will affect the ability for the body to perform well for certain processes like detoxification, which is very
mhm.
important, hormone production as we age, that's also very important, immune response, cognitive function, all of that. It's so important, and it all comes down to the mitochondrial health.
It's kind of a crazy concept when you think of it.
Mhm,
We knew so little for so long about this. Now it's started to really become, a much bigger part of overall health and wellness. A lot of people are definitely focusing on mitochondria. Um, I guess you know eh, when you're looking at specifically finding out, what how the mitochondria is moving through time and how it's producing that energy.
mhm,
And you're talking about all the different steps that are involved.
mhm.
Is that where we would start to look and focus a little bit more on what's happening there or where we're deficient? And then I guess once you get a better sense of that, like does that help you be more pointed with your care and
Mhm.
recommendations for people?
Yeah, so with assessing for mitochondrial health, it is very hard to do through history taking, and what can lead us towards that direction is if they had the previous exposure to certain chemicals or mold or a viral infection that really triggered things for them,
Hmm.
where they noticed that after they had that infection, that's when their energy levels really took a turn. Or
Yeah.
after a certain exposure to mold or something else, that's when they really notice the energy shift. And so when someone tells me that, then I'm more likely to want to assess their mitochondrial function.
To
And
see what's
so,
happening more specifically. So
mhm.
is this where we, try to get a little bit more geeky and talk about the science more specifically, like with the testing?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so there is actually a very specific test to test for their mitochondria function. It's called the OAT test or the organic acids test. It is
Okay.
a urine test that anyone can do at home. And so the organic acids test tests for your organic acids, which is a byproduct of our cellular metabolism. And so it really gives us a good snapshot into our overall health and how well the body is functioning. And a big part of it is our mitochondrial health. And so it will take a look or deep dive into all the different aspects of energy production, whether it's taking glucose and converting it to energy, or protein and amino acids and converting that to energy, as well as nutrient deficiencies. All those aspects are all important when it comes to supporting our mitochondrial health, and making sure all those aspects are there can make sure we have sustainable energy levels throughout the day and as we age. Um, and so when we do this test, we can really pinpoint which areas are deficient, which areas need further support, and what nutrients we need to support that person further.
So what would be like something common that you might see like on the test itself? And, with those common results,
Mhm,
what then would you how would you manage that? Like what would you do as a naturopathic doctor to
mhm,
kind of target that once you
mhm.
have that information?
I think I guess I could go into an example or a case at this point to really talk about how the O test can be beneficial for someone, and
Mhm.
in what case would it be beneficial? And so I've had a gentleman come in with a lot of chronic fatigue. If he were to rate his energy levels, he rated it at a 2 out of 10.
Oh,
And
wow.
it
That's
would
low.
yeah, it was very low, and he was very active. He didn't have too much stress in his life. He was retired. He would go to Arizona here and there to on vacation. He would play with his grandchildren a lot. So it wasn't because he was stressed. It wasn't because he was having poor sleep, and his diet was pretty good as well. But when we talked about things a bit further, he mentioned that things started to really take a turn when he came back from Arizona, and there was a black mold exposure there.
Oh.
Um, it took some time for him to clear it, but he was exposed to it. And also afterwards, he developed pneumonia. And then I think he got COVID as well. And so his immune system was deeply impacted from the mold exposure. And then that's where he started developing viral
Mhm.
symptoms as well. And so when that happened, things started to take a turn. And that's when I suggested doing the O test for him to get a better idea of what's going on a
Yeah.
cellular level, especially after we have already gone through his blood work to see if there's any nutrient deficiencies there, or anemia or thyroid dysfunction. Nothing was abnormal. So we really wanted
Mhm.
to get a better understanding of what's going on.
So what
And
did you I'm interested to see, like, what did you find on the O test that was able to kind of help him?
so it was really interesting, actually. I suspected, maybe there's some lingering mold exposure or mold overgrowth, yeast overgrowth that's found in
Mhm.
his urine, but we actually didn't detect any yeast or mold overgrowth. We actually found that there are certain parts of his mitochondrial pathway that we talked about in detail that needed
Yeah.
further support. And so he needed more specifically to work on converting protein and amino acids into usable forms of energy. And he was also lacking in B vitamins as well. Certain B
Mhm.
vitamins were tested, and they were not as abundant in the urine. And then it also showed that his antioxidants were quite low as well. And
Oh.
so antioxidants are so important when it comes to our overall health, specifically for the mitochondria. It protects the mitochondria from further damage.
Mhm.
And so when things like mold exposure happens and viral infections happen, it depletes the antioxidants within our body. The antioxidants naturally would be able to recover, but when we have so many so many different offenders or triggers, one after another, it would sometimes it's really hard to replenish those nutrient stores, those antioxidant stores. So through his oat test, we were able to have a better understanding of what his body needs. And in his case, it was really to support the production of energy from amino acids to usable forms of energy in the form of ATP, as well as supporting those antioxidants and B vitamins a bit further. So in the end, he did go on a treatment plan that we recommended. It was very specific to his oat test results, and he noted through. He actually sent me an email afterwards saying that the plan was really helpful for him. He was able to sustain better energy levels throughout the day. It wasn't so up and down.
That's
Um,
great. That's
yeah,
exciting.
yeah,
It,
it really was quite transformative for him.
Aw, that's great. It must be very rewarding for you to hear that, when you hear that somebody's done so well with, and especially when you have the testing that available to you. So there's so many things that certainly can be done for people that are either struggling with low energy, want to boost their energy or maintain their
Mhm,
energy as they go on in time. Is there any like practical advice that you might have for someone that they could maybe start today? Like,
mhm,
let's say somebody
mhm,
is feeling like they're a little sluggish,
mhm,
or they want to make sure they maintain healthy aging process for their mitochondria as
mhm.
they go forward. Like, what would be your top two things that you would
Okay.
suggest for people?
So I find like for everyone, I always prioritize protein intake. I'm always talking about, are you getting enough protein in your diet? And protein is so important not only for mitochondrial function, but also for sustaining energy throughout the day, for balancing
Mm,
your blood sugar levels out, for building that muscle mass, because as we age, we lose some of that muscle mass,
yeah,
and
yeah.
for balancing hormones. So many different, so many important aspects to getting enough protein, but a lot of people are not getting enough. And so, our protein needs are very individual. Everybody requires a different, amount of protein. It really depends on their activity level as well as their weight, but in general, when I'm suggesting protein, I recommend around 20 to 35 grams of protein per meal. And
For
so
a
that
meal.
can, yeah, that's quite a lot for some people. They
Yes.
usually, aren't aware of their protein. So I would start by tracking and seeing what foods you're having already in a meal
Mm,
and seeing if that's enough. So, for example, you know, if you're wanting to reach the 20 to 35 grams. That can look like maybe 4 eggs for some people, maybe a big bowl of Greek yogurt with some nuts and seeds, and maybe a side of protein on the side, maybe some nut butter on a toast, maybe a scoop of protein powder. The easiest way to get, enough protein is animal sources of protein, but I not know not everyone is
hmm.
um, eats animal protein. But, if you are, then a palm size amount of chicken or turkey can be around 25 to 30 grams of protein. So that definitely will hit the mark.
So that's very interesting. That protein you have found is so important with energy. Is there anything else like that? What would be your number two thing?
Um, so protein, yes, that would be my number one thing. The other thing is antioxidants. We talked about antioxidants. We talked
Yeah.
about how there's a lot of different factors in our environment that can deplete our antioxidant levels, and we want to be able to support those energy levels to prevent further damage. And so antioxidants can be found in food sources like vitamin C and vitamin E. Those are very potent antioxidants. But if we're talking about supplements and things like CoQ10 or NAC or
Mhm.
glutathione, all those can help replenish our antioxidant levels as well.
Yeah, I think as we age too, we naturally make less CoQ10, but it's so important for mitochondria function.
Mhm,
So that's certainly, especially if you're in your 40s and 50s, I think that that's something that
mhm,
is highly recommended to start, taking as a preventative and
mhm.
antioxidant. Um, I guess if somebody wanted to get more information about this, about learning more about their mitochondria, learning more about how to boost energy or maintain energy for healthy aging, what would be some next steps that you might suggest for them? What can they do to kind of reach you and reach out to you?
I would suggest them to go on a free consult call with me.
Okay.
So it's a 15-minute call or a discovery call where we really will try to address some of the questions you have and talk about some of the concerns you have. And I can introduce you to my approach, whether that is more testing that is needed or
Mm,
certain supplements that we might consider and how the assessment would go. We so that discovery call is what I usually start off with, and it really helps with the person to understand, what seeing a naturopathic doctor is like and what my approach is, and see if it's the right fit.
that sounds really interesting. Maybe what we can do is we can leave the link in the description below, and then they can always go to our website and schedule a free intro call.
Mhm.
And then once they have done the free intro call, then the next step would be, I guess, to have an appointment, like a new patient appointment with you, where you would spend a lot more time going into more details, right?
Yeah, it would be
Um,
an initial consult, which is 75 minutes long,
okay.
and it could either be done virtually or in person.
Oh, that's very handy.
Mhm.
Right. Um, so we'll make sure we post the link to schedule a complimentary consultation with you.
Mhm.
And is there anything else that you wanted to add today that you can think of? Is there any other gold nuggets that you might like to add?
I think that's everything from my end today, but I'm excited to continue this series with you and chat more about all aspects of health, on top of what we chatted about today, which is energy. And I hope it was very insightful for some of your viewers here today. And
Yeah.
um,
I
mhm.
personally think that I learned a lot today. I think there's a lot of good information. So thank you so much for sharing, taking the time to share and your knowledge. Maybe too, like maybe people can leave in the comment section a topic that they might be interested in, and then we can focus on that at some point. Maybe gut health would be the next big
Mhm.
topic that we could talk about next time.
Mhm.
We could focus on that. But if anybody has any suggestions or comments, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave that in the description or in the comment section below. And again, thank you so very much, Dr. Chan, Dr. Ariana, for being here with us today. We appreciate all your knowledge and thank you so much for joining our team too. We're excited.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Yes, yes. Enjoy, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye now.